The winning blueprint presents.
So we look at the next game on the slate, and it sees the San Diego Chargers traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. I think this is going to be a fabulous football game. A lot of people are sleeping on it, as evident that the Buccaneers fans haven't sold this game out. And this is going to be a good game, I think, because I don't trust the Chargers. Rule number one, never trust the San Diego Chargers, which I don't. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been scoring points of late. And I like this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. I really like what Vincent Jackson has brought to this offense. You take Vincent Jackson, you put him in this offense, you slide Mike Williams over to the 2 spot where he belongs, you sprinkle in some Doug Martin, and all of a sudden this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is potent. And it's funny because just 3 weeks ago, this was a dormant Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. I mean, they weren't doing anything on offense. And they came off of their bye week, and it's like the light switch just came on. It's always nice when you can come off your bye and get Kansas City, put 35 on them. The next week, you go on the road to Minnesota, a team that was playing good football, hadn't really lost many games at home to that point in the season. And you go into Minnesota, you put 34 on their head, you put a charge into them, win that football game, and then you get the Raiders, a team that doesn't play a lot of defense. You put a charge into them as well, and all of a sudden you find yourself at 4-4 playing the San Diego Chargers. A lot of charges there. But this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is clicking on all cylinders. They're running the football. They're passing the football. They're really starting to play solid football. They're getting it on the offensive end. Their defense has been struggling, but those things go unnoticed when you're scoring that many points on offense. They're going to win this game against the San Diego Chargers. They're going to have to play better defense than they did against the Oakland Raiders. I think they're going to be able to do enough on the offensive end because, again, I don't trust the San Diego Chargers. And I think that this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense can do more than enough to win this game. Vincent Jackson is going to want to shred his former team. I think he feels like he was exiled out of San Diego. Wasn't treated fairly, had to hold out to try to get paid. He's going to want to really send a message to the San Diego Chargers that this is what you could have had. You let me walk away. Now you got to pay. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to get it done at home against the San Diego Chargers. The Chargers, however, finally won a game last week at home against the Kansas City Chiefs, who seem to be the remedy for everyone who's struggling. Just play the Kansas City Chiefs and you'll be okay. That's what the San Diego Chargers did a week ago on Thursday Night Football. Got them a big victory. All is right in San Diego right now. They need to build off of that momentum that they got from winning that game. As bad as they have played over the last month, that win got them back to 500. They're at 4-4. So this is a matchup between two 4-4 football teams. And the winner of this game, and I said this last week about Tampa Bay. They rose to the occasion and got it done. I'm putting them in the same situation again. The winner of this game will give themselves a legitimate shot to make the playoffs. They're going to springboard themselves into the discussion of teams trying to make the playoffs. The loser of this game will take a step back, and they will find themselves on the outside looking in of teams trying to make a push at the playoffs. So this is a big game for both of these teams. San Diego has to run the football. Phillip Rivers can't press. He can't feel like he has to do it all himself. Can't make the big mistake in this game. He has to take his time, make smart decisions like he did against the Kansas City Chiefs. Don't make the boneheaded throw like he did against the Kansas City Chiefs right before the half where he threw that interception to Eric Berry. He has to be more cognizant of what he's doing with the football because as he goes, the San Diego Chargers team goes. And so if he can take care of the football, make some plays in the passing game, help this San Diego Chargers defense out by extending drives, making plays, scoring points, giving them a chance to really play some sound defense, they got a shot in this game. But the key is not turning it over and then holding down this red-hot Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Can they do it? I'm not quite sure they can. That's why I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home, elevating their record to 5-4 in the season with a win over the San Diego Chargers, 30-24, dropping the Chargers to 4-5 on the season. This is going to be a fun football game, I think. I can't wait to watch it. Let's hope we get the same fireworks out of this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that we got a week ago when they took on the Oakland Raiders. This is going to be, I think, one of the marquee matchups of the week. Looking at it on paper, it's not the case right now. But I think when it's all said and done, looking back on Week 10, I think this is going to be one of the better matchups of the weekend. No one's really talking about it right now. And I guess rightfully so because, you know, the New Orleans Saints kind of took the luster out of this matchup by them not being as good as they usually are this time of season. But the 8-0 Atlanta Falcons are traveling to the 3-5 New Orleans Saints. They're going to the Superdome, a place that hasn't been that kind to the Atlanta Falcons of late. And they're going to try to extend this winning streak to 9 games. And in order to do so, they're going to have to go to the Superdome and take on the New Orleans Saints team that just beat the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football to notch their 3rd win of the season. And although they're not playing the greatest of football this season, the New Orleans Saints probably feel like they're the team that can play spoiler and end this undefeated streak by the Atlanta Falcons. The New Orleans Saints are at home. They're a tough team to beat at home in the Superdome. They're going to be rocking. They're going to be raucous. They're going to be loud. They're going to get it up for this Atlanta Falcons team. If there's one game that this Saints team wants to win, and this Saints fan base is going to show up and want to win, it's going to be against this Atlanta Falcons team. This is a family business affair, and there's no love lost here. These two teams really don't like each other, and I think that they're going to really battle it out, and I feel like the Atlanta Falcons are going to trip up somewhere here shortly. And when it happens, it's going to happen inside of the division. It's going to be a team that knows them. It's going to be when they're conducting some family business. Don't think it's going to be some outsider that clips them first. It's going to be someone that they know all too well. Someone that they probably don't expect to get it from. You know, you don't expect your own family to stab you in the back. That's exactly what's going to happen to the Atlanta Falcons. Someone in that division is going to clip the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm going out on a limb here. I think it could be the New Orleans Saints. Now, that's not a news flash. I say that all the time about teams. Normally don't pick them. But I tell you, hey, watch out for this team. They might be able to win this football game. I think the Saints can get it done. The only thing that makes me kind of question whether they can get it done. And we're not talking about this terrible defense. We already know. It's already been chronicled. We've already talked at great lengths about this bad defense. I'm not going to go into that. That's not what I'm talking about. The one thing that has me questioning whether the Saints can get it done is the absence of Darren Sproles. He is such an X factor for this team. He does so much for that offense. Kind of tough for me to fathom them being able to beat the Atlanta Falcons without the services of Darren Sproles. I like what I saw out of that running back group by committee on Monday against the Philadelphia Eagles. You saw it's good for them to finally take the dust and blow it off of Chris Ivory. Give that man some run. Give him a little bit of burn. He is a viable back in the National Football League. I don't understand why they feel the need to just supplant that man on the bench and don't let him get up. He can help you. He's an asset. He's even an asset if you decide to trade him. Just do something with him. Don't let him sit there and not play, though. I don't understand the logic behind that. But Chris Ivory, you had a good showing from Pierre Thomas. And you also seen a lot of good running from Ingram as well. So they had all their backs on display on Monday. If they can do that again against the Falcons, The key to this game for the Saints is A, as always, don't turn it over, and B, control the pace of the game with your offense. The least amount of times that your defense is on the field means the better it is for your team as a whole in this game. The Atlanta Falcons are a potent offense. And if your defense is on the field, they're going to take advantage of your defense because your defense isn't any good. And you don't want to see this Falcons attack with Julio Jones and Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, and Michael the Burner Turner. You don't want to see these guys on the field repeatedly having opportunities to go against your defense. You're not going to win that matchup. But if you can limit the amount of times that they get on the field, win time of possession, and kind of make them rusty, make them out of sync, make them sit on the bench for 8 minutes of game time, 17 minutes real time. Make them sit over there and think about what they want to do when they get on the field. And have them wait, and maybe they don't execute when they get on the field. If you're the Saints, these are things you have to do. Control the game with the running game. You know, and Drew Brees is going to be Drew Brees. I expect him to be able to make completions against this Atlanta Falcons defense. I expect him to be able to drive the ball down the field. Get touchdowns. Can't afford to kick field goals in this game because the Falcons score points. You get touchdowns. You don't turn it over. You control the pace of this game with the running game. Allow Drew Brees and his offense to be multifaceted in the sense of running and passing, having a good balance. You got a legitimate shot in this game. Look, the Falcons are a team that has came close to losing on several occasions this season. They had an excellent showing 2 weeks ago against the Eagles. They scratched and clawed and got a victory at home against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football a week ago. This is a team that can be had, and if you're the New Orleans Saints at home, this is your shot to do it. Because I don't see you going into the Georgia Dome later on in the season and getting it done. This is your shot. At home, Week 10, undefeated Falcons team. You're coming off of a win against the Eagles. This is your shot. And I have the New Orleans Saints in my surprise of the week, my upset special, have the New Orleans Saints getting it done, handing the Atlanta Falcons their first loss of the season, 30-27 in a classic Atlanta Falcons New Orleans Saints matchup that we see all too often between these two teams. We've seen good games from these teams over the years, and I expect this one to add to those games and be some great family business that we can just take a step back and look at and say, man, that was a good game. Falcons 27, Saints 30. Saints go to 4-5 on the season. Falcons suffer their first defeat of the season at the hands of the Saints and drop to 8-1 on the season. So we move on to the New York Jets traveling out to Seattle to play the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are undefeated at home this season. They're 4-0, and if you're the Jets, this is a scary game because the Seahawks are the best team at home in the National Football League, hands down. They don't lose at home. Their crowd gets involved. The defense plays that much better, and this is already a good defense. We already have talked ad nauseum about how good this Seattle Seahawks defense is, and they play that much better when they get at home. The 12th man gets involved. Marshawn Lynch starts eating Skittles and starts running the football in beast mode on you, and Russell Wilson starts throwing touchdown passes. This is a different Seattle Seahawks team at home. And if you're the Jets, you're coming off a bye. A lot of questions to be answered over the bye week. Let's see if you got some things ironed out as you come off of this bye week looking to execute and get a win on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. Got to run the football. Got to make Mark Sanchez complement the run game, not be the focal point of the offense if you're the Jets. Tough to do, though, against this Seattle Seahawks defense because their goal is to always make you one-dimensional. Stop the run game, make you throw the football. Once you take to the air, they pin their ears back, come after your quarterback, and they're one of the best teams in the league at doing that. I just can't see the Jets coming into Seattle and getting a win. I can't see it. I don't trust this Jets defense anymore. They're not what they used to be. Of course, you're missing your best player in Darrelle Revis. That's to be expected. I don't see them being able to get it done on offense either because they're not a good offense. You know, they have their weeks where they explode on offense. Usually it's against a subpar football team. But when they come up against teams that are actually on the same level as them or a little bit better, the Jets don't rise to the occasion most times. And I don't expect them to come on the road against a Seattle Seahawks team that hasn't lost all season at home and get a win. I just don't see them doing it. I see Seattle running the football, setting up play action pass with Russell Wilson, going up top to Golden Tate and Sidney Rice and all of their receivers, having another one of these games like they had a week ago against the Vikings where they control the pace of the game. It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be very hard-hitting. They're going to run the football with Marshawn Lynch. They're going to control the tempo, dictate the pace, and really take the fight to the Jets in this game. I expect the Seattle Seahawks to get it done at home, 23-17 against the Jets, sending the Jets to 3-6 on the season. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks will elevate their record to 6-4 on the season, getting it done again at home. And I tell you what, this Seattle Seahawks team is dangerous at CenturyLink Field. Dangerous. The Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in some old-fashioned family business. This is probably going to be your marquee matchup of the day going into the week. Now, I said that I think that after it is all said and done, that New Orleans game is going to be the marquee matchup. But going into the week, everyone has this game circled on their calendar as the must-see matchup of the weekend. The Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles are both respectively 3-5 on the season. And for all intents and purposes, this is a make-or-break game for both teams. You lose this game, go to 3-6, and visit the Redskins at the bottom of that division. Hi, Redskins. You are in trouble. And that's putting it nicely. Your season is probably over at this point. If you don't win this football game, you drop to 3-6, you go visit the Redskins at the bottom of the division, your season is probably over for all intents and purposes. Now, you won't be mathematically eliminated, as the Redskins are not right now, but you don't want to go down that road. So this is a big game for both of these teams. I think this is going to be a good football game, a hard-fought football game. If the Dallas Cowboys want to go into Philadelphia and win a place that has really been a house of horrors for them of late, they have to run the football. No DeMarco Murray in this game. I just don't know if they can run the football. We know that Tony Romo can get it done. I'm not questioning whether he can get it done. But he needs help. You don't want to put the onus all on Tony Romo. You know what can happen if you tell Tony Romo, you have to win me the football game. I don't have any other options. You got to get it done. You know what that can do to Tony Romo. One of two things is going to happen. One, he's going to show up. He's going to go 27 of 33 for 307 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and the Cowboys get it done on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. Or two, and this is the one we see most commonly, he's going to throw up all over himself. He's going to go 17 of 29, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Cowboys lose on the road to the Eagles, who dominate them, and they go to 3-6. You don't want to put that kind of onus on Tony Romo. You want to run the football, and allow Tony Romo. You don't want to do what you did last week, which was have this kind of complex offense that you really don't know what you're trying to get out of it. Either you're going to let Tony Romo run the show, or you're going to have balance. I don't know what you were doing last week. I'm still confused as to what the game plan was last week. It just felt like you guys were running in place. You were stuck in the mud all week on offense last week against the Atlanta Falcons. You got to be better this week. And I think it starts with running the football more effectively. Even if you can't do that, you just have to turn Tony Romo loose. And just say, all right, Tony, it's on you. And just see if you can win the game that way. You can't do what you did last week, which is wait till the end of the game to try and show up and start scoring points. Then it's too late. And you're on the road again. And this Eagles team is just as desperate as you are. You have to find a way to score points in this game. 13 isn't going to be enough. That 13 that you put on the scoreboard last week won't be enough to get it done again this week. So if you want to score 13 points, be my guest. You'll find yourself in the losers column again. If you are the Philadelphia Eagles in this game, you got to do a way better job of pass blocking than you did a week ago. If you block like you did last week, Cameron Jordan had 3 sacks. Go ahead and double that for DeMarcus Ware if you want to block like that this week. I will go on the record as saying DeMarcus Ware will have 5+ sacks if you want to block the way you blocked on Monday Night Football. That was atrocious. That was one of the worst offensive line performances I've seen in recent memory. You got to come way better than that. Now, you did run block in that game. And it's not hard to run block against the New Orleans Saints because they don't play any defense. But Shady McCoy got off, had an excellent game, but it meant nothing because you couldn't get in the end zone because you couldn't pass protect for Michael Vick in this football game. You turned the football over, as the Philadelphia Eagles have been doing all season long. If you want to win this game, A, you can't turn the football over. That's number one. That goes without saying, but it seems like you don't seem to understand that this season. You guys have been turning it over at an alarming rate. B, you got to protect Michael Vick. If Michael Vick is going to drop back and have absolutely no time to throw the football, if he's going to go play action fake, turn his back to the defense, turn around, and have to fall on the ground because he's about to get destroyed by a convoy of Cowboy rushers, you're going to be in for a long day. You're going to lose the football game. And C, you got to run the football with Shady McCoy. You have to stay balanced. If you're Andy Reid, you can't have one of these offensive play calling blunders where you and Marty Morningwig decide you just want to chuck it 35 times and abandon what is probably your greatest strength on this football team, which is running the football with Shady McCoy. I don't really care how you get the ball in his hands. Just get the man the football. He's dangerous. He's dynamic. He's one of the best backs in all of the National Football League. Get him the football. If you're the Eagles, this is a game you're supposed to win. You're at home. You're just as good as the Cowboys, if not better. I can't tell you who's better because both of you are 3-5. Both of you have found ways to lose games this season. But I tell you what, you're at home. This is a golden opportunity for you to put yourself back in position to try to make a run at this thing to get a playoff spot. You're at home. You got to take advantage of it. You lose this game, and you still got to go to Dallas later on in the season. You haven't played the Redskins at all this season. You got one more with the Giants in New York. Things are looking down for you if you can't win this game. You got to get it at home. I expect you to get this one at home against the Dallas Cowboys, 23-20. It's going to be an old-fashioned NFC East slobber knocker. Expect this to be fun. Expect this to be family business as usual. This is my family business. So I'm going to be all up in it, nose deep. I got the Eagles next week, so I need to be studying the Eagles, seeing what they're doing, seeing if they still have it. It doesn't matter if they can't pass protect. I don't get pressure on the quarterback anyway, so I expect the Eagles to get it done 23-20 over the Cowboys. This is going to be a fun game to watch, and I'm going to relish in the fact that someone else is going to join me at the bottom of the division at 3-6. Misery loves company, and I'm going to be waiting on someone to join me in the cellar at 3-6 in the bottom of the NFC East division. St. Louis Rams are traveling to the San Francisco 49ers in what should be an easy win for the 49ers. Now, the Rams aren't as bad as they have been in past seasons, but they're still the St. Louis Rams. They're still the team that struggles to win on the road. They're still a team that struggles to protect Sam Bradford. They're still a team that struggles to score points. All that adds up to the San Francisco 49ers coming off of a bye, being aggressive, getting after Sam Bradford, stopping the running game, making this Rams team one-dimensional, pinning their ears back, coming after Sam Bradford, forcing him into a few mistakes, turning those mistakes into points, winning this football game pretty handily. Like the 49ers in this one, think that they're too much for the St. Louis Rams, especially at home, coming off of a bye. It's going to be too much for the Rams to deal with. I like the 49ers in this one, 23-13, taking their record to 7-2 on the season, dropping the St. Louis Rams to 3-6 on the season. Sunday Night Football is going to be a lot of fun. You don't get great matchups like this often on Sunday Night Football, on Thursday Night Football, on Monday Night Football this late in the season. Normally, when they start flexing things around, you might get a good matchup like this. But just to have this, a matchup that was supposed to happen before the season got underway. This is rare. You get two 7-1 football teams clashing each other as the 7-1 Houston Texans travel to Soldier Field to take on the 7-1 Chicago Bears in a matchup of maybe the two best teams in each conference. Question mark. I don't know about that. That's debatable, but we're talking about two 7-1 football teams that have been playing really good football of late. The Texans, after being spanked at home by the Packers about a month ago, have responded in a big way, beating up on their opponents, really beating up on the Ravens, soundly defeating the Buffalo Bills, and having that bye week. They look good right now. They're playing sound football. They're getting turnovers. They're scoring off of those turnovers. They're playing good defense. They're running the football. They're going play action play. They're doing all the things the Houston Texans do to win football games. Meanwhile, you look at the Chicago Bears. And the Chicago Bears season has been defined thus far by defensive touchdowns. I've never seen a team score more points on defense, on special teams, than the Chicago Bears this season. I mean, they're scoring at an alarming rate on the defensive side of football. And you're thinking to yourself, at some point, this has to come to an end. Someone is going to play the Bears and actually not self-destruct, not turn the football over, not allow the defense to score points. And then what? What does the Bears do when the defense doesn't supply them with 14 points? Are they just going to score 13 like they did against Detroit a few weeks back? I mean, really, what are the Chicago Bears? I still don't know. I know they're a good defensive team. I know they can be good on offense. But I know of late they haven't been doing a lot of offense because they haven't had to. I feel like they're leaning on this defense. It's starting to become a crutch. What happens when somebody slaps that crutch from under them and they actually have to stand on their own feet on offense? That's what I'm looking for in this football game. I don't want the Texans to turn it over. I want to see what the Bears are going to do when they have to score on their own by the offense and the offense alone. That's what I want to see. Can the Bears get it done when a team comes in, plays sound football, doesn't turn it over, and makes the Bears beat them by scoring points on offense? Can the Bears do that? That's what I want to see. The last time a team asked them to do that was the Green Bay Packers, which was a loss, the only loss for the Chicago Bears this season. So I want to see what they're going to do when they're put in the position of actually having to play real football. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I can't wait to watch this one because the Texans are a team that they're not steamrolling people, but they just beat you. It's a slow bleed. They cut you, and then they just watch you bleed. And, they score a touchdown, they score another touchdown, and then they just coast. And it's a slow bleed. I want to see what they do in this game because they're not going to be able to slow bleed the Chicago Bears. They're going to have to beat the Chicago Bears. There's no 17-3 lead in the third quarter. You tack on another touchdown, and then you just coast. That's not this type of football game. This isn't the Jacksonville Jaguars. This isn't the Tennessee Titans. This isn't the Buffalo Bills. You can't just coast in this game. You have to play for 4 quarters and keep the intensity up the whole way. Want to see if the Texans can do that. This is going to be fun. I'm going to find out a lot about these two teams in this game. Still feel like the home team has the advantage in this game. And I'm still not buying the Texans as a true contender that can beat good teams yet. I saw them play against one good team this season. I mean, you count the Ravens, of course. But I feel like the Ravens have issues of their own. The one time they played a good team this season, and it came out of this same NFC North division, was the Packers. And what did the Packers do? They destroyed these Houston Texans. And so I want to see what the Texans are made of. Even if they don't win this game, if they are able to go into Soldier Field, battle the Chicago Bears, tooth and nail, and if they lose, but it's a close, hard-fought ball game, the Texans will have earned my respect. But if they go in here and they get shellacked like they did at home against the Packers, that leads me to wonder who you really are if you're the Texans. But nonetheless, this is going to be a fun game. I expect it to be a close game. I expect it to be a very entertaining game where the Bears come out on top. And this is going to be a defensive struggle, I think. I don't think this is going to be one of these high-octane, games like the Packers and the Texans had, where there was just points being scored all over the place. I think the Bears and the Texans are both going to be playing a lot of defense. It's going to be a chess game, chess match between two teams that play good defense, and someone's going to get checkmated in this game, and I think it's going to be the Houston Texans. Bears 20, Texans 17. I think this is going to be a good game. I want this to be a good game because I want to be able to leave this game saying, hey, that was two good football teams battling it out. I don't want to say, I'm not sure that you're a good team. And if someone gets blown out of this game, that's exactly what I'm going to leave this game saying. I'm not sure if you're a good team or not. And I don't want to leave this game saying that. I want to leave this game saying, I just think I've seen two of the better teams in the National Football League go at it. And I feel confident about these teams moving forward. And that's going to do it for the Sunday slate of games. So, that's a touchdown. Throw it up. Go ahead. Throw it up. I'm going to tack on this quick extra point. Starting to come down the stretch in the National Football League. We're getting into the latter half of the NFL 2012 season. We've hit that mark now where we hit the apex, and now we're going to start coming down the hill because we've hit that midpoint. Now we're going to start coming down. And so I have to bring you this divisional show. I have to bring you a divisional breakdown segment. It has to come your way, and I need it to come your way shortly. I know I've been saying this for a week. I've been really busy trying to juggle many different hats. No excuses. I told you the show should have been here. It should have been here already. I'm going to have this show coming your way here shortly. I got to have this show coming your way because now we're getting to the point now where you need to start seeing who's doing what in these divisions and who actually has a legitimate shot of stealing a playoff berth. We're getting to that point now where you're going to start seeing, division winners, wild card leaders, and in the hunt. And that's what you're going to start seeing on a lot of these telecasts. And I want to make sure you're up to date, you're kept abreast of what's going on in the National Football League. So none of these things come to a surprise to you. You should know who's in the running, who's in the hunt, who are the wild card leaders, who are the divisional leaders, and who are on the outside looking in trying to get to the position where they can strike. And so I need to have this show coming to you here shortly. I'm going to do my best to have it coming your way this week. And also, at the end of this episode, I'm going to have everything that transpired last week in the Pick'em Weekly, the Lab's picks, how everything went down, the record that I have moving forward, and my total record, what I was able to do last week, what I think is going to go down this week, being that we went over all the games, the survivor pick and everything is listed on my picks. So I'm going to have that available to you at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that at the conclusion of this episode. I thank you for joining me in the lab room on this Friday afternoon. Again, long episode. You know how we do on Fridays. We go over all the games. A lot to get to. We got to it. Feel confident about my picks again. Had a couple that I kind of, went outside the box on. But look, if you want to be special, that's what you have to do sometimes. The key, though, is not just to go outside the box. Anybody can go outside the box. It's actually picking a winner. And so you can go outside the box all you like. You need to pick a winner, and that's what I'm hoping to do this weekend. Got off to a good start with the win on Thursday, so let's hope that that propels me into a great week and gives me a shot to win the football pool in Week 10. I'm ready. I feel poised and primed and ready to make a statement. Let's do it this week. And so thank you for joining me on the program. View the show on Facebook. Like the page. Every episode I've ever done on the Facebook page. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. I'm also on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. At In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. So, follow me on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you there. Also, drop something in the inbox. InTheLabRoom@gmail.com is the inbox. Drop something in there. I'll respond to you. And the easiest way to access the show, have every episode at your fingertips, is to like the YouTube page. Louis T is the YouTube page. Every episode I've ever done on the YouTube page. Check it out. Subscribe to the page, and you'll have everything at your fingertips. Anytime I load a video up, you'll be the first one to see it because you're subscribed to the page. Thank you for joining me again on this Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the college football. Enjoy all the festivities. Enjoy all the games. We'll come back Monday. We'll talk about everything we saw. And as always, enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. I'll see you back here, same time, same place on Monday. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend.